Hi Sagittarius, here is a general look at your solar chart for half of January and the whole of February 2015. As the forecast period begins, the emphasis tends to be a little bit more on incomings, outgoings, you know, maybe paying off things after Christmas and New Year for some of us, and anything else which tends to affect material security like property. So there could be a keynote, that could be a keynote sort of centered around property, possessions, and the like. Now then, in February, the sun comes into a very sociable, busy area from the 19th of January to the 19th of February. So it's in meeting and greeting and connecting with others. It's all about connections and getting those nuggets of information. But there is uncertainty hanging in the air. You don't get the information feedback that you need to give you the clarity that you want. So it's not emphatically decisive. This is for all of the signs actually, because in January and February, there's definitely some uncertainties around. I mean, in January, up until the 18th, there is, you know, this sort of, you're in the information extreme, stream, or it could be extreme actually. There we are, a Freudian slip. And education and just finding out stuff. So you're finding out stuff, you're gathering information, whether that is in a formal or an informal way. That's in February. But still in January there is also this feeling of picking up little nuggets of information, right? However, for all the signs, there is this lack of enough clarity, this lack of enough feedback, and maybe you having crossed wires or getting the wrong end of the stick, or somebody else's, or in fact, you know, all that glitters is not gold, that kind of thing. So do not have too high expectations because you can be running off with the wrong idea, or indeed, you know, worrying yourself to death over something that is never going to happen. So it can work in various ways, and as I say, this is for all of the signs. And you're thinking a lot about somebody that you're in a relationship with as well. Maybe they are with you, maybe they're on the other side of the world. I mean, it can be, but somebody close, okay? Maybe in a personal sense or maybe in a working type sense. But there will be a theme of uncertainty in the last few days of January and the first few days of February. This uncertainty is there regarding a certain other in relationship, and you again for a while there lack the clarity which will settle your feelings. Mercury is also retrograde, which doesn't help with that kind of thing either. Mercury is retrograde up until the 11th of February, and so Mercury goes direct from then, and after then communications of all kinds will tend to flow with more ease, more smoothly, and there won't be this feeling of delay or not hearing back from somebody, or, you know, that parcel didn't arrive, or where is it, you know, it's disappeared, or whatever it's about for you. But you may have to work a little bit harder on things to do with paperwork as well. Maybe you've got to go over something again. You just got to work a bit harder on it, being a bit more thorough with something there up until the 11th. And then that is added on to this Neptunian sort of mists or muddying of the waters where you don't get the real clarity on something. But Mercury, other than that, is in a very, very chatty, outgoing area, gathering information, giving out information, and making connections, but possibly more paperwork. Education is a big one with Mercury here, learning and sharing stuff in person or over the wires. That's to say, over, like, you know, like the telephone wires. And then at the same time as that's going on, Venus and Mars are beaming a very friendly light into the root of your chart. And this can manifest as being in a location you like, or getting access to a location you like, or it might be not like that at all. It might be that you're dreaming about a location you prefer. No, I think it's a bit more than that. I think it's a bit more substantial than that. Although there is this energy around of castles in the air, I have to say. So this is a time for dreaming. It really, really is a time for, you know, creating through vision of how you want it to be, and then really putting your emotional drive into that to get it to manifest. So very much so. And it's a time really with Venus coming into this area of your chart for you to feel very close with the nearest and dearest. It can work like that, or with soul brothers and sisters. It can be like that. It can be like your tribe. It could be a good time to just to appreciate those sorts of very personal connections more, and also getting access to somewhere in nature perhaps, or another location which you really do get something out of. You feel that there's a quality to it for you. And then Mars is also in there, so maybe some of you are doing DIY, some of you are getting very active and dynamic within the home base, you know, and within a space, inward, inside or outside. I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, I guess we're coming into early spring at that stage there. I mean, pretty early. Well, it depends on where you are. If you're near the sea and you are you know, that would be, and a little bit further south than where I'm sitting, then yeah, that would be early spring. So points on the map, family members, particularly the mother energy, I have to say as well. You need to be decisive and assertive related to those sorts of things, you know, and hustle and bustle could be going on around you, but also you could be busier than ever at home, or not very far away from home within the locality. But try not to let Mars energy, with whatever your personal circumstances are, the Mars energy run you ragged, which it so easily can, and you end up spreading yourself too thin and tripping over your own shoelaces, because that clumsy side of Sagittarius comes out, and you're running too fast, you know. And you're not actually allowing for the rest and the recuperation that you need. Actually, this area where Venus and Mars are until the 20th and 21st, Mars moves out of there on the 20th, is an area of sensitivity. It's an area of introspection. It's an area where you would do well to get out in nature and connect with nature, which is unconditional. Rather than be in amongst it, you know, in the hurly-burly and the hustle and bustle of too many people with their opinions about things. But anyway, it is about family dynamic and parents and parenting, all of that. Then Venus and Mars both move out of there, more or less, I mean, within 24 hours of each other on the 20th and the 21st. And then that changes the dynamic there. You are more coming out more and up for having a bit of a laugh, having some fun, maybe taking a break, maybe doing more creative things, more spontaneous things, which you get a lot out of. But just as they've moved out, just before they moved out, the sun takes their place. So there still is this link back into the home base and what's going on within the four walls, or, you know, if you live in a tree house, or in a boat, or a cave, or a yurt, or whatever. So whatever, you know, wherever you are, it's your own pride. It's the castle keep. You know, that is your place, then the sun comes in and keeps that theme going of the home base and the family connections, and the tribal connections, and the connection with nature. But Venus and Mars move out of there, and you feel the support, actually. Wherever Venus is, you tend to feel that you're not alone, that you're in a team and you're pulling in the same direction. So, or the potential of that is there. You just got to choose, I suppose, well. And be diplomatic, but the potential for it is there. And Venus and Mars are in the area of creativity, children, your own inner child, sort of maybe investments for some of you on a more business side of things, taking a bit of a risk on something, perhaps feeling competitive with something, but feeling, you know, like, yes, I'm very personally empowered about something that you might be doing, whether it's needlepoint or running the 3-minute mile. You know, I mean, it can be anything, but it is also an area linked into performance, art, and leisure, and that kind of thing. And Mars is in this area as well, bringing out the competitive side and perhaps putting you more center stage for some reason, or, you know, it's a very romantic area as well. So for some of you, that could mean that romance is coming into your life and you are like really, you know, getting that wink from somebody else and you feel quite kind of, you know, appreciated and noticed. But whatever's going on, you could just be more in your power, and you need to make decisions maybe related to children or a creative project or a speculative project, or maybe it's to do with property, to put you in this mode of being more in your power, you know, going forwards. And it's great for the entrepreneurs and creatives among you. And you may be more in the mood to invest time and resources on an outside chance, but don't put everything you have on it, because that would be too Sagittarian of you. Always keep a little bit back and always have a plan B. Now, towards the end of February, I would say probably in the second half. You know, in the first few days, there's this uncertainty about a relationship or somebody you're in relationship to. But in the second half of February, there is this funny mix of energies, which means that you have to put yourself out and be supportive at the same time as bite the bullet and be very, very practical and hands-on and realistic, and not be all head in the clouds, which might be a little bit tricky at times because of this overall head in the clouds energy and the lack of certainty. So it's a great time to trust. It's a great time for prayer as well. And I'm not meaning that there is likely to be any disasters or anything. All I'm trying to say is that because you don't have the requisite amount of information, and you might worry over things, because Saggies are very terrible worry guts. You know, it's the 3 o'clock in the morning thing, you know, wide awake. Oh, right. And then, you know, you're like a runaway horse sometimes. So it's count your blessings. Try to keep that runaway horse reined in, and don't allow apparent circumstances or the opinions of others to undermine you, because this is a great time actually to work with your dreams, work with your visualizations. And as long as you are not unrealistic and setting the bar too high, you can do it. You can really do it and bring it right down to earth and make it very, very practical. But you have to be, you have to be in that state of trust and kind of security that all will be well with whatever you're trying to get to become real, okay? And then we've got Saturn in your sign. And with Saturn in your sign, this means that with this very long transit, at the moment is in the first phase of its transit up until June, turns of events will gradually help you through adversity sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, get more serious about yourself and your life and what you need to be doing for yourself and your life. And for some of you, it can be health matters. For some of you, it can be just, you know, okay, I need to get educated, or I need to get better at this, or you know, turning over a new chapter in my life, and it's time to now build a new foundation for a really, really new existence from the ground up. And you will steadily build these new routines, these new ideas, this new armature of that better, more comfortable, healthier life in the future. And you have to take everything with the long view with Saturn. Saturn works incredibly slowly, so it's very easy to get disenchanted or disheartened with Saturn, but just keep on plugging away. And you Sagittarians born 24th to the 28th, or with 2 to 6 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. And then Jupiter, your rising sign until next August, is is happily very, very strong for you in your chart, in your solar chart, which is the 9th house. And during this a little bit more serious time in your life, because of where Saturn is, and I say serious because you have decided to take things more seriously and to get to grips with stuff, and not to be procrastinating anymore, right? So that's why I say serious. But for you at this more serious time in your life, Jupiter working very strongly for you to kind of offset the Saturn seriousness. Jolly Jupiter means that you could be getting educated, really. I mean, you could be going to school again, or for the first time, maybe, although I doubt if you'll be listening to this if it's the first time. But no, you could be getting into education. Now, that could be formal or informal. So you could be doing it yourself or whatever. Or indeed, you could be the teacher, because Sagittarius is the sign of the teacher. You are the sign of the seer as well. So some of you could be using that, but you are also the sign of the mentor and the guide. And some of you could be growing through those sorts of things, very much so, because that's the time for you to, this is the time for you to expand through those areas there. But also through travel, so through foreign connections or connections with people at a distance, maybe, as well. And others could see you as someone who's got the information, who's got the advice that they need. Now, if that is going to be that way anyway, then don't undersell yourself in some kind of job, or just with the sorts of people who are just kind of using you to sort of guide them and give them the information that they need for next to nothing. Or if you don't enjoy it, make sure that you're putting yourself in the circumstances or in the environment where, if it's going to be like this anyway, you are at, you're enjoying what you're doing. That's what I'm trying to say in a very sort of inefficient way. But yeah, because the energy is it's going to be underpinning, and therefore it's in the back of our physical manifestation. So if you try to sort of navigate yourself into an area where the physical manifestation is more to your liking, the energy will be there to back it up anyway. And this is for many, many months. This is going on into next August. You Sagittarians born the 6th to the 11th of December, or with 14 to 19 degrees rising, are going to feel this energy the most at the moment. And again, just a quick mention of Neptune. Try not to be, the prop for others, particularly within maybe the family, or within the neighborhood. Unless, of course, you want to be, but what I was meaning by that is don't get walked all over and get drained by others in the neighborhood, or in maybe to do with the family, because they really are invading your boundaries right, left and center, all over the place. So you need to do something about that, even if it's a tent in the garden. You really need to do something about that with Neptune here, because the tendency is for this for your boundaries to be trodden on. Whether they do it on purpose or not, whether that is somebody in your neighborhood, or, in your extended family, or within your nearest and dearest. So just try to be, a little bit firmer there, and value yourself and your right to sacred space. You Sagittarius born the 28th to the 30th, or with 6 to 8 degrees rising, going to feel the energy of that one most this month. And that's it. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also, this is all written up on my website, and there can be a little bit more than I've said here, and a little bit less in some areas as well. But if you're interested, read that, and I'll see you the next time.